I'm not sure. I think maybe Forever Young could have overhauled him either way, but nevertheless, it was a gargantuan effort on, as you say, a surface that he's unproven but clearly likes.
Exactly. He is on the older side of these horses. He is 7. Do you think that he could go for another season in the form that he's in at the moment?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no reason to suggest that he won't. I must admit, one of my concerns about him for this race was whether that Saudi Cup had left a mark. It was an incredibly grueling race. It wasn't too long ago, and he hasn't faced competition in the heat of the desert like that before. He usually tends to skate through his races quite easily. I wonder if, whether you're a believer in this theory or not, whether maybe a horse swooping by him and defeating him has also maybe brought about a little bit of lack of confidence. But yeah, I think ultimately he's likely to get a good pace set up. I think he's set to get an ideal position from his barrier, and I think he should be very tough to beat, especially if he can bring his A game, and perhaps even if he's a little bit below, to be honest.
And here on the replay, we can just see Nation's Pride winning the Singspiel Stakes and Holloway Boy coming second. Nation's Pride is a very interesting horse for me in this race. I think it's a perfect distance for him. He has a lot of stamps in his passport: Bahrain, the US, Canada, Germany, and he's been having a good time traveling around as well.
Yeah, 4 times a Group 1 winner, and actually flew out to Canada to see him win the Canadian International a couple of years ago. So that was a special experience. He was 3rd to Lord North in this race back in 2023. He's a really admirable horse, and I think, again, like Romantic Warrior, both of those are going to be advantaged by the way this race plays out, in that I don't think there'll be a red-hot pace. They can sit close on it, and it may be the disadvantage to the likes of Liberty Island, Soul Rush coming from further back, because they're probably going to be against a pace bias here, I think.
Absolutely right. And what did you think of Holloway Boy's performance coming second? Do you think that he could come on from that?
I think potentially he can improve. He's really enjoyed himself out here this carnival, hasn't he? He's been running some huge races in group races. We know he's got the talent from when he was a 2-year-old, when he won that Chesham Stakes. But I think ultimately he's going to be found wanting right at the end of the race.
I totally agree with you there. And another horse that I'm really looking forward to is horse number 1, Factor Cheval, the 6-year-old from France, who will be ridden by Maxime Guillon. He is a bit of a warrior. He came first in the 2024 Dubai Turf, so this race last year. And his trainer does seem pretty confident with his abilities.
Yeah, he had an exceptional year last year, running in all the good races in Britain, in the Sussex Stakes, the QE2 in particular. He put in some excellent performances. My concern with him this time around is he's coming off a dirt prep. He ran in the Al Maktoum Challenge and the Saudi Cup. I'm not sure whether he is as effective on the dirt surface as he is on the turf. And similarly to Romantic Warrior, I wonder if those efforts may have taken a little bit more out of him. He was a long-priced winner last year, so we shouldn't underestimate him. But I do think he's probably got more on his plate this time around.
And we have a UK runner as well, Ghostwriter, who was 3rd in York behind City of Troy and Kalangadan. He steps down a trip.
Yes, he's a very talented horse, and his record is interesting. Probably doesn't tell you the whole story because he hasn't won in a while, but he's produced some excellent efforts in top company, including in the Juddmonte International at York and indeed in the Coral Eclipse. I think we're yet to see the best from him. He could be capable of a good performance, but once again, I wonder whether he could now be ready for this sort of test, but I'm not sure he'll perhaps be good enough to win on this occasion.
Yeah, I think so. But that was just the 2024 Dubai Turf when Factor Cheval came out on top. And I got to speak to his trainer yesterday morning, Jerome Rayner. Let's see what he had to say.
We're very happy with him. He looks good. He's behaving well. Obviously, that's a very different prep than last year when he came straight for Europe after 5 months off. He has a busy campaign this year with the Maktoum Challenge and the Saudi Cup. Now he's back on turf, and no, we're quite happy with the way he looks and the way he trains, so we're quite hopeful to be competitive once again.
Was that your plan at the beginning of the season, to try him on the dirt as well?
Yeah, he was meant to go to California for the Breeders' Cup last year, but we changed our plan and kept him in Europe for the Queen Elizabeth and finished 2nd behind Sharin. And yeah, the plan was to send him all winter long here in Dubai and try the dirt. And obviously in the Maktoum Challenge, he ran a really good race. And in the Saudi Cup, there was a different story. That was a very tough race with a lot of pace. And we're happy to see him back on turf on Saturday.
And what are you expecting of him on Saturday on the turf? Do you think it's a tough field?
Yeah, obviously there's a few big champions like Romantic Warrior and Liberty Island, and even Soul Rush has got some good form. So it's going to be a very, very competitive race, and less runners than last year. Last year there was a 16 runners field, but we got lucky to have the draw 8. So I hope we'll be able to be in the middle this year once again to get a good run. And Maxime knows the horse perfectly well, and I mean, yeah, he's getting older every year, but he seems to be still a young boy.
He seems to be still in his prime, as you said. What are your plans going forward with him in the future after Dubai World Cup night?
But as I say, he's had a busy campaign during the winter, so once he's back at home, he'll have a few weeks off, and we will see if he can be ready for Royal Ascot, maybe for the Queen Anne or the Prince of Wales, but there's no rush with him. The Sussex, he's been running really well in the Sussex during the summer. He was second to Paddington and third last year, so we can be aiming once again to try to win a Group 1 in Europe. That's the main target of the year, and we will see.
Best of luck to Team Valor in that race. Any final words of wisdom on the Dubai turf, Maddie?
It'll be interesting to see how Malzoom runs. Like Ghostwriter, I think he's a horse who hasn't had the smoothest of careers, perhaps, but is going to produce a better performance one of these days. He's not always had his ideal conditions, and I think he's very interesting for William Haggas for sure, who's had an excellent time of things of late, of course, winning another Group 1 with Dubai Honour in the Tancred Stakes down in Sydney.
Absolutely right. And here is another race replay. Yeah, it's just great. Yeah, it's Factor Cheval again, just winning last year's Dubai Turf. Tough battle again. And he does seem like the type of horse who likes to chase. He likes to have a bit of a challenge. So hopefully in the closing stages, we get another tight finish.
Absolutely. It's great when you have competitive Group 1 races like this. And ultimately, there's fans as racing supporters. That's exactly what we want to see.
Now we are going to take you through the runners and riders of race number 8. It is the Group 1 Longines Dubai Shima Classic over 2,410 on the turf with a prize pot of $6 million. Horse number 1 from Bahrain for Fauzi Nas is Caliph. Horse number 2, Dereza for Japan. Horse number 3 is Giavaletto, a horse that I'm really looking forward to seeing on the day. Horse number 4, Rebels Romance. Horse number 5, Kalangadan, who is the highest rated in this race at 125. Horse number 6, Dandan Decile. Horse number 7 is Dear Mile for Owen Burrows and Tom Marquand. Horse number 8 is Shin Emperor. And horse number 9 is Saravina. Only 9 horses in this field for the Dubai Shima Classic. And here you can just see the gate draws as well. Rebels Romance in number 4.
Perfect. I think William Buick will be absolutely delighted with that. This horse who made much of the running in a dominant win last year. He's going to have a very straightforward task from that draw, I'd suggest. I'd be slightly worried about the gate in stall 2 for Kalandagan. He's a horse who likes to be held up and come with a late run. He wouldn't want to be getting trapped on the inside and face traffic problems like he did in the Champion Stakes.
Absolutely right. And speaking of Rebels Romance, he won the 2024 Shima Classic. Hopefully we can give you a replay on that just now. And much like Factor Cheval, I mean, do you think he's going to come on from this run? There's not many bad things you can say about Rebels Romance. He's 7 years old. He won 3 times on the bounce, the Emir Trophy, the Breeders' Cup Turf, a Group 1 in Cologne. I mean, there's just no stopping this horse.
No, he's relentless, and as last year, I think he's going to get the perfect setup. I don't think there's that much pace pressure on the front end. I'd expect William Buick to be nice and positive, as we've seen he is. He had a lovely prep last time out. Could he become the first back-to-back winner, the first dual winner of the Shima Classic? Hard to believe that it's never been done. But this is just a really exceptional horse, and one that William, I spoke to him earlier at Track Work, said that he's built a real relationship with. As you say, Shamila, 7 years old. It's not often these flat horses stay around for as long as he has. Won the UAE Derby here, of course, went to Americas, won Group 1s all over the world. It'll be a privilege to see him in action.
He has more stamps in his passport than the regular person, and my colleague Kareem got to speak to William Buick this morning by the track.
Yeah, I feel good. I rode Rattle and Roll this morning, and he feels in good form. So, yeah, I'm very excited about it.
I will start talking about Rebels Romance. He's the title winner last year of Shima Classic. How it was the preparation, and how do you see the horse?
Yeah, he's had a good preparation. he won the race in Qatar recently, like he won last year before the Shima Classic. He's in good form. He shipped over well, and everyone seems very happy with him. So, we're obviously hugely excited every time he runs, and this time is no different.
This year, don't you think that his opponent are more tough than last year?
I think it's a tough race. I agree. I mean, it was a tough race last year on paper, and it's the same again this year. So, we never take anything for granted, and the Shima Classic is always a very good race. So, we know Rebels Romance is super consistent. He always turns up. He always does his best, and the team have produced him beautifully again, and we're always excited when he runs.
You'll ride also Nation's Pride, and he will be in front of the big romantic warrior. How do you see this battle?
Yeah, it's exciting, of course. Look, romantic warrior he's a champion. It's gonna be hard to beat him. Nation's Pride is a solid horse. He's a really tough, consistent horse, and we look forward to him running as well. It's going to be tough for him to take on a horse like Romantic Warrior, but it's a horse race and we have to try.
Rattle and Roll, coming from Saudi Arabia, and Rattle and Roll is going to be one of the contender also as an American horse and Saudi horse to compete in this Dubai World Cup.
Yes, he ran very well in the Saudi Cup, where he was 5th. Look, he's a good ride to pick up, and look, obviously you have Forever Young in the Dubai World Cup who won the Saudi Cup now, so it's a tough race as you always expect, but I'm looking forward to it.
With the experience you have, how do you see the Dubai World Cup, the big event on the 25th, on the next Saturday?
Oh, like always, it's a very competitive race. You have horses from Dubai, America, Japan. You have horses from all over the world. So, and the best horses. So it's never an easy race. To be honest with you, it's nice to be in the race on a horse with a chance. Just really hope that we can perform our best.
Do you see that Forever Young, he has maybe more chances in that race?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's a very good horse. Obviously, winning the Saudi Cup most recently when he beat Romantic Warrior. So, he's a horse everybody will be looking at. But I do think it's a deep field behind him, and Rattle and Roll, I think he will improve for another furlong. The Saudi Cup is 9 furlongs. The Dubai World Cup is 10 furlongs. So hopefully that will bring out some improvement in him.
Always great to hear from Godolphin jockey William Buick. He seemed in great form this morning, and thankfully we got a word on all of his rides, and he mentioned Nation's Pride, who he's looking forward to riding as well. We're going to go straight into Shin Emperor, who won the Saudi Neom Turf Cup. Very impressive race, wasn't it, Maddie?
It was, yeah, and interesting that he went from the front here and more or less made all. We know this horse is very talented. He finished 5th in the Japanese 2000 Guineas, 3rd in the Japan Derby. Some international followers will know that he finished 3rd in the Irish Champion Stakes, 12th in the Arc. I don't think those were his conditions. He's never bound to be seen in his best light there. An excellent 2nd in the Japan Cup to deduce. And then this was his effort last time. I do think he perhaps got a little bit of an easy time in front here, and he may have been flattered slightly by the winning margin. But nevertheless, it was an excellent effort with some really creditable contenders in behind.
Exactly, and he has a fantastic jockey booking as well, the stable jockey for Yoshito Yahagi. And I mean, I feel like you can't underestimate any of Mr. Yahagi's runners that he brings over here.
No, definitely not. And this horse is still developing. I think he's going to improve with age. It's quite deceptive because he's got quite a high head carriage. I don't think he's ungenuine at all. He can look slightly awkward in the finish at certain points, but I think he's bound to be peaking this season.
Now, horse number 7 is Dear a Mile for Owen Burrows and Tom Marquand. 6th last time in Saudi in the Red Sea turf for Ahmed Al Sheikh. Probably wasn't his run, but could improve in this?
I think he could improve. He's still a young horse who has potential at this level, but ultimately on what we've seen him do so far, including when he ran in the Epsom Derby last year, he needs to improve.
And unfortunately, we couldn't get a word from Owen Burrows. I couldn't find him this morning at Breakfast with the Stars. There were so many people. It was almost overwhelming. But another horse that I'd really like is Servina, which is another Japanese contender. Goes against all the boys, and she won 2 Group 1 fillies races in Japan.
Yeah, she's a really exciting talent, Servina. She has a unique running style in that she comes from the back. I don't think some of the races she's run in recently have been run to suit, but she is a Japanese Oaks and Shukasho winner, so we have to take her very seriously. 9th in the Kyoto Kinen, though, not sure what happened there, but she'll need to be back at her best. This is a really exceptional Dubai Shima Classic.
And I think we should speak about horse number 3, Gia Valletto, as well. Won the Hong Kong Vase, which is a Group 1, 5th in the Dubai Gold Cup last year, but has since improved.
Yes, that Hong Kong Vase was a really standout effort for him. And interesting that he seems to be getting quicker with age. He's won 2 Yorkshire Cups over a mile and 6 furlongs. But as you say, that Hong Kong race was over a mile and a half. And he did not look like a stayer in that race there. He showed an exceptional turn of foot under Oisin Murphy. It was a wonderfully inspired ride. And we saw a new side to Gia Valletto there. I think he's going to be one of the principal dangers to Rebels Romance on Saturday. I think he's going to run a really big race.
Do you think that it could be an issue that he's drawn on the outside?
Not really. He tends to go back in his races. He's relaxing more with age. We used to see him at track work mornings awash in sweat, and he'd be very on his toes. But he seems to have grown out of that with age. And I think given the position that he's likely to have, a wide draw shouldn't be a concern.
Well, I was lucky enough to speak to the trainer of Servina, the only filly in the race. Let's see what he had to say.
Every day, a little bit, condition is better than the better. Yeah.
After traveling, it's hard for them to come from Japan to here?
Yeah. At first, she's very nervous at first, but day by day, she's comfortable to environment here. Yeah, I think.
Are you excited to be back in Dubai? Obviously, you had Equinox here.
Yeah. I'm very happy to. I'm very lucky for trainer. Yeah. 2003, I got the title for Dubai Shima Classic. It's very wonderful time for me, and this time is very happy too. Yeah.
Well, Christophe Lemaire takes the ride on her, and she could run a huge race on Saturday. I would love to see her beating all the boys. Any final thoughts on this race? Obviously, Kalangadan, Rebels Romance, Gia Valletto, there's so many star horses in this.
There is. I think we need to give Kalandagan another mention. An exceptional year last year. Gelding was really the making of him. Won the King Edward VII at Royal Ascot in scintillating style, and then performed really admirably in 2 of the world's best races. 2nd in the Juddmonte International to City of Troy, and then enjoyed a luckless passage in the Champion Stakes at Ascot behind Anmat. He could find things a bit hairy again on Saturday with that inside draw, particularly if they don't go a strong pace. But I think he's a really fantastic horse, and he's got a real good turn of foot for a middle distance horse. So looking forward to seeing whether he can defy a few things on Saturday.
And I love to see the Aga Khan colours out here, and they usually do pretty well, and they're serious contenders when they do bring them out here.
Yeah, for whatever reason, the Aga Khan horses just seem to thrive, don't they? I remember Vazirabad running in the Dubai Gold Cup for years, and he was a real favourite of mine, and fantastic to see another one on these shores.
Well, that was the previews of the 2 Group 1 races coming on the turf to you on Saturday. Let's have a look at our predictions for those races and the Dubai World Cup as well. We've both gone for Romantic Warrior. I've gone for Factor Cheval. You have Soul Rush, Romantic Rebels Romance, Kalangadan, Giavoletto and Rebels Romance for you, and Forever Young for both of us. But I've gone the way of Wilson Tesoro for my second choice, and you have Imperial Emperor. So what do you make of the Dubai World Cup race itself?
It's fascinating. I think if he can produce his best, Forever Young could just outclass his rivals. He's such a spectacular horse. It's been great to see him in the mornings. That's why I love coming to different countries like this, because you really get an insight into what these horses are truly like. And he's a superstar. He knows it. He will stand there, look at the cameras and say, yeah, that's me, I'm here. If that race, the Saudi Cup last time, didn't take too much out of him, and I don't think it would have done, to be honest, then I think he's just got too much class for his rivals here. I am interested in Rattle and Roll, who was a very eye-catching fifth that day. I wouldn't be surprised if he could reverse the form with the likes of Ushba Tesoro, who was second in that race. I think that's a horse for Kenny McPeak that is peaking and going to produce an excellent performance. Imperial Emperor, he's been the real improver of this season, of course, in Dubai. But I just think they're going to have too much to do against Forever Young.
It is absolutely all eyes on Forever Young. And Maddie, thank you so much for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure to go through the two races with you tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Really can't wait to see how our selections get on.
And very best of luck to everyone in those two Group 1 turf races. But it is all eyes on Forever Young. And please join me tomorrow night when I will be joined by Carlos Morales, who will take you through the main one, the Dubai World Cup. Thank you and good night.